What's up, guys and gals? It is the catch-up month of April, but you guys didn't think I'd forget the one series that is always ready to go and on time. Kengan Omega. Kengan Omega Chapter 303, entitled How to Fight, will even be released the same day. Look at me go. Look at me go in the month of April. So, this chapter, there's a few things I want to talk about. Number one, I've seen a lot of comparisons. There's a few questions, there's a few comparisons and stuff, and I want to talk about that. So, in this chapter, Koga and Ryuki finally figure out that maybe, potentially, just possibly, running their heads straight into a brick wall is not the way to get around the brick wall. It took them a week to figure this out, 6 days, and on day 2, Ryan was involved. So, do they even have a brain cell between them? Is this like Ryuki and Koga are the tiger and the dragon sharing one brain cell sort of idea? Because, there's gray matter in between the ears, boys. Maybe by day 6 you should have figured this out, right? Because the whole idea is to teach them tactics. Real life, real world combat, which is what the Cure clan is accelerates. They are the guys. They don't accelerate at it. They excel at it. Sorry, wrong word choice. They excel at this. They're assassins. They're contract killers and stuff, right? So even though Ryan and some of them are exceptional just combat fighters in general for matches like Kengan matches and stuff, their whole expertise lies in, guerrilla warfare, combat tactics, right? So how is this going to help is question number one. Well, a lot of people seem to be under the delusion that they are training to fight against Shen. If anybody thinks that Koga or Ryuki are ever going to fight Shen and Shen's actually going to be in a position where he's threatened, just out in left field. I mean, on the camera it's probably right field, but out in left field, just gone. Like the wind. Forget about it. Just forget about it, okay? That ain't happening. They are not training to fight against Shen. They might think they are, but in no way on God's green, holy-ass earth are they ever going to be strong enough to go against Jackie, okay? It's just not going to happen. And training with the Cure clan is going to improve. I think what this is doing is that there's obviously going to be a breakout situation, whether the inside breaks out into the masses and it's, the apocalypse, it's like the Helsing Ultimate storyline or something, London's invaded, that kind of idea. Whether people break out from the inside and it's all chaos and we need everyone involved, every character we've ever met helping to fight and stuff, or the final battle happens inside the inside, go figure, and there's a lot more than just defeating Shen in one-on-one combat. There's a lot of other things going on, just like in the Ashura tournament, right? There was the Guardians versus the Bodyguards, and the fighters got involved, and the Worm was involved, and all this craziness ensued, right? So I'm going to assume that is what they are partially training for. They're training for this big, epic, we don't know if the Death Dealers, the Worm, it's not just going to be this 1v1 against, Shen and Kuroki, and then that's going to decide the fate of everything. No. There's going to be other combat, there's going to be other fighters, there's going to be a bunch of shit going down, I'm sure. So that is what they are training for, number one. The Cure clan is trying to train Koga and Ryuki in how to fight in real-world combat. Now, fact of the matter is that they try to explain away why Ryuki doesn't already excel at this, or why it took him 6 days to figure this out. And part of me wants to say, yeah, no, this makes no sense. The other half does. Okay? So, but before we get into that, I'll just talk about the fact that this training is not like Mikitsuchi Ri's, it's not like Demon's Bane. There are some key differences. It is absolutely night and day, because it's not pushing them to their limit in the sense, because both Demon's Bane and training to pass on the Rashin style is to bring the body, the reason Niko beat the shit out of him and brought him to death's door 1,000 times, and same with Mikitsuchi, with no rest, with no real food, with just the bare minimum to keep you alive, every bone in your body just shattered. The reason to that was to bring you to that edge, to bring you to that point of nirvana where you are just running off of adrenaline itself. Your body has long given out. It's all about your willpower. Basically, If this was One Piece, these guys, this was the method how they unlocked Conqueror's Haki. It was the willpower to stay alive and to, to just reach that euphoria, that point where your brain shuts down and your body just knows how to instinctively act. They brought them to the brink to master their styles, right? That is an entirely different situation right now. Because although it looks similar on the surface, 24 hours, they're getting their shit kicked out of them at any random moment, and then they're beaten bloody, and then they just have the rest of the day to recuperate. Number one, it's far easier. No one's trying to kill them. They're beaten and bruised a little bit, but they have, once they fail, they have the rest of the day to recuperate. Niko showed up like half an hour later, like, you thought I was giving you all night? Whack! And I was like, holy shit, right? There was no stopping in their training. It was far harsher version, and once again, they're not out to kill them. They're using rubber weapons, reverse blade swords, all that fun jazz and stuff. And once again, they're having a lot more time to recuperate. Also, this is not the point of the training. They're not trying to unlock some sixth sense of fighting, some nirvana, some, once again, Conqueror's Haki. They're not trying to do that. What they're trying to do is teach them that fighting head on and being just a brute in every situation, it's not cowardly to run away. It's not cowardly to reassess the situation and get yourself into a more advantageous situation or position to then strike your enemies from behind. They're teaching them how to fight like soldiers, guerrilla warfare. They even say that in this chapter. It's not about all of a sudden Rahito, Oma, Ri, all of them suddenly unlocking full mastery of martial arts and your body flows on its own without needing your brain to tell you what to do. It's not about bridging that gap at all. That's not what the point of this training is, so it's a completely different thing. It looks similar on the surface, but it's totally different, so that's why, once again, it's not about going up against Shen. Now, so they actually don't show up for the training at first, and they're like, alright, and Hollis is like, okay, well, we're going to start anyways, you know what I mean? So the first thing they're going to check is their room and stuff, but we see that Ryuki is already hidden behind the pillars and stuff like that. They go forward. 5 of them meet up, start talking about it. No, we checked their futons are folded and stuff, so they're up, they're in the house and stuff. It's like, yeah, well, I wonder where they went. Did they ditch the house? Maybe, whatever. Boom, Ryuki already has 2 daggers, 2 knives, and Shink showed up, dropped from the ceiling, apparently, right behind them. I thought he was hidden behind the pillar. It's very strange. They say that he's hidden in the rafters, but immediately, the first panel we see of him, he's actually hidden behind one of the walls and waiting for the situation. Then we see him just go straight from behind, like he snuck down, crouched down, and boom. So I'm like, okay, that's totally fine. But then they say he jumped down from the rafters. But it doesn't really matter which way it was done. It just seemed weird, like, because we saw 2 panels of Ryuki clearly not in the rafters. And then, boom, he apparently was hiding in the rafters, dropped down, and either way, doesn't matter. He got both of them at gunpoint, at neck point, right? So it was like, okay, so 2 of them are officially out. He immediately dashes away so that the other 3 don't take him down. They recognize this, that he was up in the rafters and stuff, and it's like, all right. And they're like, well, yeah, he got us. Good for him. He took down 2 of us. And once again, they didn't say that in the 6 days they haven't been able to take down a couple of members of the Cure Clan. They just have been overwhelmed every single time. It's not that Koga and Ryuki haven't taken down 1 or 2 of these guys before, but then they get swamped. Then they get swarmed. So and they've never taken down a high-level member of the Cure Clan before, right? So either way, they rush forward thinking, okay, they're going to rush against Ryuki. Now, they get messed up by the tripwire. That being said, okay, because I was stupid and I did check the comment section of this chapter. Okay. While, yes, there's once again 2 sides to this, and we're almost to the Ryuki point I was making earlier. Yes, this looks kind of dumb. From just a surface level, the Cure Clan, a tripwire, really? First and foremost, as I said, these are the lower ranked members of the Cure Clan. Take that what you will, but this has been 6 days of training. These guys have been absolute knuckleheads. They aren't smart enough. They're too stupid to figure out even to like hide and do quick, hit and run tactics at all. This is the first time they've successfully done anything more than just stood their ground and fought a brick wall. So, did they lower their guard a bit? Yeah. This is the first time they've ever incorporated hit-and-run tactics plus a trap. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. This is not a true mission. They're not being serious. They're using blunt objects and rubber weapons at best. They've been kicking their ass up and down this mansion for a week. Their guard was a little lower. They did not expect the tripwire and stuff like that. It's like, oh, goddamn. Like, they got one over on us. I can see it. I can 100% see that. To me, it's okay. I see both arguments, but realistically, if you're like, oh, this makes no sense, this is stupid, this sucks, Sandra 101. I'm like, well, yeah, that's surface level reading, but when you actually think about it, it's almost like leading you into a false sense of security, right? And normally this is done and people say peak writing. When it's like, okay, he's constantly been doing this for 6, 7, 10 days in a row, and then finally switches it up. This has been done in many different manga, not just fighting, but in goddamn food wars, for God's sakes. Doing the same thing over and over, and it's like, you will never win with that tactic. But now I've, led you into this, blah, blah, blah. In fighting manga, in a lot of manga, we go, oh my god, this is insane, you know what I mean? Like, we've seen it in Gamblefish, in a lot of gambling manga, you see that idea, and the villain can't understand, like, why do you keep repeating this and stuff? So, realistically, the Cure Clan had lowered their guard. They did not expect them to learn anything, because they hadn't learned jack shit in 6 days. That's a fact. They hadn't learned anything. So they had lowered their guard, did not expect them to all of a sudden come out swinging. False sense of security. Realistically, it makes sense that they would make a mistake. They would make a simple mistake like this and fall for a tripwire. Would this work again? Absolutely not. They only have one shot at doing this here on day 6. If they fail here on day 6, day 7, all the Cure members are going to realize they figured out how to, use weapons, run and hide, set traps, be more aware. Their awareness will be, on point. They will not fall for this again. So I argue that it's actually not a bad thing. Just saying. So Koga ends up, getting his 3 hits in, and he goes another 3 down. So they've taken down 5 already, and boom, they move on. And they're actually smiling about this. They're like, did he just? He sure did. All right, they're getting it. Like, that's the point of the training. They're not here to win. They don't get anything out of this. Their job is to train them in literally pulling off stunts like this is the point of the training. The fact that they did it and it was successful and they managed to pull it over the wool over the eyes of some members of the Cure Clan, that's praiseworthy, really. Now, you could argue the fact that it's not that Koga and Ryuki had planned this from the very beginning and for 6 days lured them into the false sense of security, so it's not nearly as smart as when it's done in other fighting mangas, gambling mangas, whatever. However, it still worked to the same effect. They hadn't intended to because they share one brain cell between them, but it did actually end up working. So now this is where Fusi, who of course we love, she says, oh, so Hollis, they finally started to figure it out. All right, so the point of this training, let's go. She loads up her gun. She's like, it's time. And said, like, they have such a sincere attitude. They're actually really good kids. Here's where the explanation is for the Ryuki stuff, okay? Is that it said they always take on any challenge head on because that's how they're built. But no matter how bad the odds are, we need to teach that out of them. That it's okay to do hit and run tactics, okay to do this. Saying that even goes for Ryuki, who lived in the underworld. The word training misled him and hardwired his brain. So I don't like this explanation necessarily, but at a deeper level, we've seen Ryuki do a pinball or a roller coaster of character development. He's up, he's down, he's reset, he's back to the way he was, he's trying better, he fails. All over the map between Mukaku, Setsuna, Koga, Yamago-han, Oma, everybody, right? He's been tossed around so many times. He's basically a hacky sack, in a junior high school. So at the end of the day, God, I'm old. And the other, so fact of the matter is that I can kind of see this from Ryuki's standpoint. He wasn't told, hey, treat this like the inside. Remember when you were fighting tooth and nail for your life? Yeah, we're trying to bring that back. No one gave him the instructions, and he's very much almost like a blank page in a book. You flip the page, it's blank, and he basically needs to be told what's okay and what's not. He's been trying, as we've seen numerous times now, twice he's been reset to being this better person, to not being this weapon who just murders and has no empathy, no sympathy, this iron wall, just this tool for killing that Mukaku tried to make him into, and then Setsuna tried to bring back into him, which he later regretted. The fact of the matter is that Ryuki is very fragile. So he's going to follow Koga's lead and not assume anything. He's definitely not in a leadership position, and he doesn't, still to this day, differentiating between right and wrong, is very difficult for him. So in a sense, as Fusui basically said, the word training misled him. Because training is the way Koga trains, meaning do not go for the kill. Do not try to actually kill your opponents. Forget the inside stuff. You know what I mean? Like, different words almost, I hate to use this word, but trigger him into, okay, right, I'm the glasses Ryuki, be the good guy sort of idea. You're not going for the kill. You're not in the inside. It's not kill or be killed. So, in a sense, it's a very minor once again, all of this chapter to me is very surface level, and if you just dig a little deeper, I think that Sandro could have spent more time explaining what I'm explaining, because they give us one little paragraph, 3 sentences about Ryuki, when that could have used almost double the amount of words to sort of explain. Ryuki has had a hard life, and he's very his mental state is emotional state is still fragile, even though it's been healing with the help of Koga and everybody like that. Like, that's all they needed to say. A few more sentences saying that he doesn't know when it's okay to go into survival mode or not. He's following Koga's lead, and what we're trying to instill in him is that it's okay to use guerrilla tactics while not going full-on murderer. You know what I mean? Like, we could have had a little bit more, rather than me spending 10 minutes trying to, dig each part of this out of this damn panel, right? But it does actually make sense. The fact that we need to extract this much from these panels and do a lot of digging means, the chapter could have been handled better. But once again, on a surface level, yes, you can complain about each part. But realistically, when you stop and think, it actually does work. So, but yeah, so Hollis goes on to basically say, like, yeah, there's nothing more stupid than going, headfirst into someone with superior firepower sort of idea. Using weapons, of course, you're resorting to ambushes, avoiding engaging altogether when you're clearly outgunned and outmanned. It's just not a good idea. So Carla and Carla's mother essentially are like, all right, they're finally learning. Now it's going to be more interesting. Let's go. And Ryan is there on the top of the roof just going, couldn't they have worked that out sooner? Fuck's sakes. You know what I mean? Like, so Ryan's like he's like us in the community. Well, he's like me in the community. It's like, yes, this is all very cool if you're like me and you're digging really deep to pull out decent character development and storytelling. However, still, on the surface level, Ryan's not wrong. It's like, it took them 6 fucking days to figure out that trying to fight me head on was a bad fucking idea. You know what I mean? Like, so, yeah, this is coming from Ryan of all people. So, anyways, so they started using radios, and they're like, all right, time to keep hunting them down. So Ryuki and Koga are like, all right, we're on this ship. We're going. I'm like, okay. So that's all actually quite interesting. I think it's the most interested I have personally been in the Koga Ryuki training, because if you just spend more than 5 seconds and be like, this is shit writing, and you actually stop and think about what's being told to us, it's not like this fantastic writing or this really great writing or anything, but it's not bad writing like people who are only reading on the surface level. They spend 2 minutes, they read the chapter, and they go, Sandro sucks. If you actually stop and think about Ryuki's mental state and what he's been through, if you stop and think how Koga how Ryuki follows Koga's lead in what's right and what's wrong, and how realistically Koga is our dumbass protagonist. He's our Naruto, he's our Luffy, he's our Ash, he's our he runs in head first, asks questions later. He's not a tactician, he's not a he's not Kisuke Urahara about things. You know what I mean? He's not Aizen. He's not any of these people. He's not Light or L or any of these like smart characters who methodically think things through and plan. Hit first, ask questions later. That's their style. So this makes sense that it would take them longer, blah, blah, blah. So personally, I am actually okay with this. And once again, when you realize they are not training to fight Shen, they've never stated that. They think they are, but that's Koga and Ryuki. They will never be in that category, so that's okay. We know this. The Cure Clan is there, and they've never stated, all right, if you guys want to defeat the Connector, like, they've never stated that. So that's an assumption on the fan base just to shit on the manga, in my opinion. I don't know. Anyways, last part of the chapter. We see Tiger, Niko, and Lu Han are finally back. Once again. They apparently have, by the end of the chapter, Lu Han even states that those martial arts memories, that they did get them, so they were successful. At first I was thinking, oh, I wonder if they didn't unlock the mystery or something like that, because they arrive and they're like, oh, we're finally back, aren't we? Well, we haven't been gone actually that long. And he goes, wow, you don't look that happy. What's eating you? Yeah, Niko, sort of idea, right, Tiger? And he's like, you're being awfully glib about this. And he goes, and I'm thinking, oh. And of course, since this review is going on super long, because I'm deciding to dig deep into every single little word and panel, but I'm just really excited about this chapter, I guess. I thought there was a lot to talk about, but of course, I got a phone call, so now we're doing a cut here. I'll try to piece everything. I don't know where I ended off there. But pretty much, so Lu Han and Tiger Niko, they get off the plane. Sorry if I'm repeating myself for a minute here. They get off the plane. They're back from the martial arts, factory, whatever like that, that has, Jackie's memories. They come back, and I thought at first that something had failed. Like Tiger seemed to be, because Lu Han even brings up, like, what's eating you and stuff like that. And he's like, I can't believe you're, being so cheerful and glib about this stuff. And it's like, well, what's going on, Niko? Like, what's going on, Tiger? And my first instinct when I saw this panel was they got the memories, but Lu Han thinks he found some sort of answer, but Tiger doesn't see it. That was my first instinct, is that they both got all the memories, they saw all the martial arts and everything that Jackie has from the martial arts standpoint, but Tiger doesn't see the answer. He doesn't see that light at the end of the tunnel. He's like, yes, all these things are very impressive, but he cannot be as powerful as he is with just this alone. Like, Tiger knows there's a missing piece at first, and he's like, we didn't actually get what we came for, sort of idea, the answer to everything. He's still not convinced. That's what I thought. I thought that would be a good plot line to go off of. No, he just thinks that the worm is going to attack them at any given moment, which actually absolutely... So, this is pretty funny. So, Lu Han immediately says, like, okay, Tiger's thing is, why are you being so cheerful? The worm could attack us at any moment. And he goes, oh, that's what you're worried about? No, not going to happen. I'm still under the Connector's command for right now. And then, boom, all the welcome back CEO, the 20 guys standing there, get immediately taken out by these two dudes. One in, they're both sort of in these jackets and stuff like that. One's got a scar, one's got a man bun, and it's like, okay, who are these guys? So, I actually don't mind the character designs that bad. A little bit different. You can obviously tell from the eyes and stuff who they're supposed to be, of course. But what I love about this, what I absolutely love about this, is... And I'll probably comment this once I'm done the review on some of the, Kengan Omega discords and stuff, is that here's how this goes. Tiger goes, not gonna, like, aren't you worried the worm's gonna attack us? Lu Han, nope, never gonna happen. Boom, next second, absolutely happens. Like, it's just like, okay. So Tiger's just looking at Lu Han and, what? Like that kind of idea. So that's it was actually really funny to me, the sequence of events, really. I mean, I know the scene is supposed to be taken a little more seriously, but Tiger's like, they could attack us at any moment. Don't worry about it. Oh, they attacked us. And Tiger Niko's just there fuming like... And Lu Han's like, what? What did I do? What did I say? You know, because it didn't happen like next chapter. It happened literally the moment he said, don't worry about it, it's not going to happen. It immediately happens. So I thought that was funny. Now, this is where these two guys, obviously, now they are other consectors, just like Lu Han. Essentially, they are rejects with the combined genes of Shen and the tiger. Now, the fact is, they're like, okay, so we're going to, how about we give those martial arts memories a test run, Niko? And then, all right, and that's the end of the chapter. So, and this review has gone really, really long. Maybe you guys like that, maybe not. Anyway, point is, I'm confused again. I'm so fucking confused again by this whole Tiger and Shen being in the same body. It's like, okay, how did they get in the same body? I'm still missing something. I'm still trying to figure this out. Like, I'm still confused again. Like, I think I gotta reread. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think I gotta reread Omega to try to figure this out again. Because it's just not adding up. Okay, so there was the clone body, but who's the tiger? Who's the dragon? Like, there was one connector. Then he started cloning himself. Then he got 2 sets of DNA. I don't know how that happened. You know, like, how did it split? Where did the tiger come from, or where did the dragon come from? I don't know. So I'm still, like, I'm misremembering or something. And if that's the case, okay. The only explanation that I have right now, let's just say, okay, we answer that question. Tiger and dragon are in the same body of the connector. How on God's green earth, the only explanation I have is that they're actually able to extract different tissue samples or whatever from Jackie, and they're able to separate, okay, this is clearly the dragon, this is clearly the tiger, and then they're able to make separate clones. They must be able to do that, because if they're in the same body and they don't know how to separate them, how on God's green earth did they make, for example, A, Ryuki, who's only the dragon's clone, and B, Tiger, who is only the tiger clone, like Oma, right? So, and now we're being told that these consectors that just we ran into, they are rejects with the combined genes of Shen Wulong and the tiger. So, wait a minute now. Now, I understand the reason for trying to do this. They're trying to make another guy worthy of fighting the connector. That's Shen's whole thing, so that makes sort of sense. It's like, well, then why not just make another me with both Tiger and Dragon in me? Maybe they'll be worthy. But they obviously were failures or rejects and stuff, as according to Lu Han. So then they probably gave up on that project and said, okay, what we need to do instead is actually keep you separated, like, and deviate the 2 DNAs. I'm sure they're able to do that, but still, this whole thing to me is kind of confusing. I don't know. Am I the only one confused by this? You know? Like, I'll accept the fact that if they're able to clone and stuff like this, that they're able to do that, but it's still like, well, it, yeah. I'm just sitting there like, okay, you were able to separate them. So, best case scenario, that's what they did. They are able to actually, when they clone Wulong, he goes into the lab, the doctors are basically able to say, okay, this is dragon DNA and this is tiger DNA. And they can make clones. And then they said, okay, here's dragon and tiger DNA. We're going to put them together and make other clones. Those all failed in an attempt to make another Shen. But, you know, these are still the rejects and they're probably very powerful, but still failures as far as being able to give a fight to the connector. So it's like, okay. But yeah, I'm still confused on where the hell did the dragon and the tiger come from in the first place. You know? Like, that's the part that I'm still confused on. You know? My whole thing was there's another connector. That there was another connector that you know, at the same time as Shen or whatever like that, maybe 2 brothers, whatever. I'm just confused on where the hell he got the second set of DNA from cloning. You wouldn't just randomly get the second set. it's still very confusing. So I'm like, okay, so now they are able to extract the tiger and stuff. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, they've been able to do that this whole time. So I'm just going to go off on a limb and say that these guys were an attempt to just say, okay, we're not able to, they didn't figure out the Ashura level stuff yet. Like, hey, we cut out Shen's brain, we put the tiger in one, the dragon in the other, and boom, you've got your fight back. This was their, like, first phase, or maybe the third phase, fifth phase, we don't know how many phases, but this was one of their attempts to say, hey, we're not able to, like, cut you in half, but how about, or they hadn't thought of that yet, but how about we just clone you as you right now? Instead of trying to clone the dragon separately or the tiger separately, how about we clone you as you with both sets and see if they're a worthy challenge? That all failed. Okay. So the explanation of these guys is alright. I'm still sitting here like, but where the fuck did the tiger... This just brought it all back to the surface. Where the hell did the dragon and the tiger originate from? How is that possible? When did that happen? Was it just a genetic anomaly? Like, I need that explanation. Or did I miss it? I might have to reread Omega. I don't know. Anyways, so that's the end of the chapter. I know this was an incredibly long review. I apologize for that, but there was a shit ton to talk about, and I'm still confused on the timeline for these guys. Because last time we checked, when Mukaku fought him as a 15-year-old, he was one guy that looked like Oma. One guy. So there was one connector, you know, and before that there was another one connector, you know. So I don't know. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as always. And yeah, this was a really long review, but sometimes you guys like that, you know, rather than a 9 to 12 minute review. Sometimes a 35-minute review is all up in, or 40-minute, however long this is. So what are we at here? 30 something. Anyways, all right. So yeah, like, comment, and subscribe, everyone. The Star Strike It Rich chapter review should be out by tomorrow, maybe Friday. And of course, there'll be more content, One Piece, Record of Ragnarok, everything, because this is the catch-up month of April, and we are as back can be, right? So, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. I really liked the chapter, and if you just dig a little deeper, if you don't just breeze through it in 3 minutes and say it's shit writing, maybe if you stop and think about it a little bit, maybe you'll enjoy the chapter like I did. It's not a perfect chapter. I'd give it like a 7, you know, but it, you know, nothing wrong with the art. The choreography was fine. You know, there was that, I think that one panel looked a little AI, but whatever. At this point, Daro's lost his passion. The fact that he's still drawing is, you know, burnout happens. Look at me. I'm just back from my burnout. So, you know, I don't blame the guy. He's an amazing artist 90% of the time. So, let him be burnt out, guys. You know, I don't care if he uses AI for a fucking generic panel of fighting a war with one guy. I'm not that upset by that. I do not care. That does not pull down the chapter for me. But anyways, I know it bothers some of you. Doesn't bother me. It bothers me if he uses AI for a big close-up of a main character's face. That would bother me. Other than that, not so bad. Anyways, is what it is. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you back here next time for chapter 304 of Kengan Omega. Sayonara, everybody.